What's up, everyone? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. To break down some very important levels to watch for and how the market's looking so far. Let me just mention that I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. Anyways, the market is just kind of range bound right now. As you guys can see, SPY is attempting to hold above 531. If we do close above that or hold above it for an extended period of time, that does give the bulls a bit of an edge for next week. And then we'd be looking at 533 and 535 as potential targets. Now, if we end up losing 531, it wouldn't be that bad, but I'd say the main level to watch for is closer to 528. If we end up losing that, then yes, we would give the bears a bigger edge. Otherwise, the market is just kind of choppy right now. Why is the market so choppy? There's many reasons. One thing is today's Friday. There's not really much data coming out. The next time we have big data is going to be closer to Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, by the way. But the reason why we're so choppy is because of this. We have about a little bit over 450,000 of these calls expiring, and we have closer to almost 500,000 puts expiring. We have a 1.08 puts to call ratio with 530 being max pain. Why is this significant? Because once again, there's almost a balance between calls and puts, and then max pain's at that 530 area. So that's why SPY is kind of shuffling around 530. We're going a little bit above it, a little bit below it, back and forth and back and forth. And this is because of the options chain. So I think that we're going to likely continue to shuffle as the day goes on. I'm not really expecting too much, but just know that if we do close or hold above 531, we do give the bulls somewhat of an edge. And if we do end up dipping to 530, it doesn't really matter as much because 528 is the main level. If we lose that, I think SPY is going to be dipping lower. Otherwise, we're just going back and forth and back and forth. Let me just show you on the 5 minute what I'm talking about. Look at the way this is moving. It's very choppy. So we pushed, dipped, pushed, dipped, pushed, dipped back and forth pretty much all day. SPY is not really doing much, guys. So, this is typical for a Friday. Not really a surprise for me with all the manipulation. Unfortunately, Nvidia is doing the same thing. So Nvidia dipped to about 103, then we pushed up to 106, then back down to 103. It's just back and forth and back and forth. But this trend is a little bit weaker. So if you guys look at Nvidia, we're on a bit of a downtrend here. If we lose this 103 area, we could be dipping all the way down towards the lower 100s. So you want to be very, very careful. Look at resistance at 106. If we break that, look at 108 as the next target. 106 is resistance, and 103 are going to be our key levels, but there is a risk of downside if 103 breaks. So watch for that very, very carefully. For Bitcoin's on a bit of a downtrend right now. It's dipping a little bit. We're going to be looking at our 200 EMA as support, 59,500. But even though it's on a bit of a downtrend, it's been very choppy. So you look at the last 3 hours, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Still on a bit of a downtrend. So we'll see how it ends up holding. If we hold above 59,500, we'll just have to wait and see. For ES, it's the same thing as SPY. It's been very choppy. It did push a little bit. Now it's coming back down just a bit, but it's still very choppy. Look at this range going back and forth between the low 5300s and the mid 5300s. It's not really much that's going on. Same thing with SPX. It's been a little bit more bullish, holding up a little bit better, but we're still fighting this 50 EMA. 53.25 is resistance and 52.97 is support. We've been stuck going back and forth and back and forth. Tesla is the same thing, guys. Very choppy. If you look at how Tesla's moved, we dipped a bit, rebounded, and we're just going back and forth. Watch resistance around this 199 area. Look at support closer to about 195. We're just in the middle, not really doing a whole lot. So if you look at the 5 minute time frame, we got a little bit of a dip. I did call out a little dip, and now we're just stuck. We went up and down, up and down. It's just range bound. There's not really much going on with it. Our main range is between 195 and just under 200. So we've been stuck on Tesla. It's not really doing a whole lot either. IWM, or not IWM, QQQ. I'll talk about the IWM after. We're just completely range bound on the QQQ, back and forth price action. If you look at the 1 hour time frame, I just want to make it clear that 448 is a key level. If we hold above that, we're going to favor more upside. If we don't, look at support at 446.5. If that fails, on the QQQ will be dipping down to 444. So I do think we might dip a bit, and we're just going to continue to shuffle. So give this some time. For Aapl, we're on a bit of an uptrend right here. I just want to note that we do have a bullish wedge on Aapl, so it's looking pretty good. But look at resistance at this 215 area, 215.5. If we break that, we could fill the gap all the way up towards 218. If not, we're just going to continue to shuffle, but we are still favoring upside a bit more. For the IWM, we're just kind of range bound as well because we have a double top leg structure. We basically have been chopping between 205.68 as support and around 207 as resistance. We also have resistance at 208. If we break 208, we're bullish. Okay. If we end up losing 205, we're more bearish. I'd be looking for 203 as a potential target. Otherwise, if we don't, break through any of those levels, we're just kind of range bound. I do see a bit of a dip coming for the IWM, but it's not really much. I might just kind of chop around first. For Coinbase, we attempted to push back up towards 198. Now we're dipping a little bit back down to 193, and we're just kind of range bound. So it's very boring, not really doing a whole lot. So just going to have to wait for that. Amazon's at resistance looking pretty good right now. We got to try to break past 168 to continue to push. It's looking a little bit more bullish than bearish. If we break 168, look for a push for 170. If not, look at key support at 166. We would be range bound if that fails. This is favoring upside a bit more, so it's looking pretty good. Meta is also breaking its highs. It's also bouncing off this trend line. Watch 515 as resistance. If we can manage to break that, our next target would be all the way up here closer to 520. If we lose 510, look for support at 505. But just know, guys, that this chart is favoring upside a bit more. We have a nice cup and handle like structure. We are favoring upside a bit. So we could be looking for a push if we get a nice move. For Microsoft, we're just completely range bound. Make sure you look at our resistance around this 406 area. And we have support at 403. If 403 breaks, we'll be dipping all the way down towards 400. And if 406 breaks, we'll be looking for a push. We're in the middle going back and forth, kind of shopping around. So we'll have to see what ends up happening here. For Google, we're looking a little bit more bearish. And the reason for that is because we got this rejection off and we ended up failing at the 50 EMA. But look at the trend. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's not really doing much. And I would say that if we could break 163, we turn back up. If we end up losing 160, we go back down to 158. Otherwise, it's just very choppy, very boring. In my opinion, I think it's just going to chop around. If you just look at this, it's stuck. So most of the market is pretty choppy, guys. It's not the best of days. Hopefully things improve later on. SPY is looking pretty good, though. It's trying to hold above 531, but it's still choppy. So it's kind of like a mix of both of these. There's a big battle between the bulls and the bears. At least that's what the market makers want us to think. And they're kind of painting the market that way. With max pain being where it's at, the market might not do anything too crazy for most of the days. So if you want to trade, it's your choice, but be careful, guys, because if you're holding short-term options, the chop is going to hurt your premiums. I'm going to be 100% honest about that. So on days like this, I basically traded a bit in the morning, and then I'm mainly a scalper. Uh, Once I took my profits, I'm just done for the day. I'm just kind of like sitting out for now. I'll be back probably next week to trade more. But I'm just taking time off just for the rest of the day because I don't really see any good entries. Also, the market's just very choppy, so I'm not really seeing a whole lot that's going on. So I just wanted to call that out. Anyways, that's pretty much it for my video. Hopefully this update video was insightful. Hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys in a few hours to give you guys another update. Until then, have a great day and peace out.